Discover the incredible journey. How one daughter-in-law's words transformed a family forever. Amidst the rolling fields of the Thompson Ranch, a battle raged within Sarah, a 29-year-old agronomy professor newlywed into one of the oldest ranching families in the Midwest. Every evening, as the family gathered around the heavy wooden table, smack in the center of the dining room filled with history, Sarah found herself caught between her passion for modernizing the ranch and the weight of family tradition that hung heavily in the air like stale smoke. The glow from the antique chandelier seemed to spotlight her growing frustration, especially as her father-in-law, Henry, sat there, unmoved, a stoic figure shrouded in stubbornness. She couldn't comprehend how someone could be so blind to the creeping financial decline threatening their legacy. Change is a threat, Henry often preached, his deep voice echoing in Sarah's mind. Yet, she believed change was the lifeline they desperately needed. She envisioned a ranch that embraced modern agronomy techniques, cover crops to enrich the soil and sustainable practices to secure their future. The thought ignited a fire in her, but each time she opened her mouth to share her ideas, the words felt heavy on her tongue, trapped by the rigid expectations of the Thompson family. And Jacob, her husband, was often caught in a painful dance between loyalty to his father and support for his ambitious wife. Every dinner felt like a battle. A field ripe for harvest turned into a war zone of outdated beliefs and modern aspirations. As she carefully navigated these heated conversations, Sarah couldn't help but notice the way the eyes of her in-laws briefly glazed over when she spoke, as if they were resistant to even consider the insights from a woman. The churning in her stomach mirrored the knots of frustration in her heart. Did they not see the storm brewing beyond their horizon? Before she could gather her thoughts, her mind raced with doubt. Was she seen as an outsider in this family, always striving for acceptance but never truly welcomed? Each word she uttered felt like another struggle for space, for a voice. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. When she uncovered the hidden oil deposit beneath their land, Sarah's heart raced with a different kind of urgency. This could be their salvation. She envisioned a future where the ranch flourished, free of debt. Instead, Henry's brows furrowed deeper, voices rose, and tempers flared as resentment bubbled to the surface. Confronting her in-laws felt like a tightrope walk. One misstep, and she could be plunged into the depths of shame, reinforcing their opinions on a woman's right to voice her visions. "Adapt or perish," she declared one evening, the air thick with resentment and disbelief. The backlash was swift. She could almost feel the cracks spreading around the table like lightning in the distance. In that moment of maximum anguish, she faced not only her family, but a lifetime of suffocating expectations. Sarah's breath hitched. She couldn't help but wonder if forging a new path meant stepping into a chasm of isolation. With the ghost of despair lurking at her shoulder, she resolved to act. The idea of organizing a family reunion at the ranch took shape in her mind. A double-edged sword aimed at rediscovering bonds more than traditions. Yet, as she stood at the precipice of this enormous decision, anticipation tinged with fear coursed through her veins. Would her words find space in the hearts hardened by years of stubborn legacy? The stakes were higher than ever. The heaviness of her dilemma intensified with each passing moment. Would she succeed in bringing change, or fracture the family beyond repair? Only time would tell, but uncertainty loomed like a dense fog, threatening to engulf them all. As dawn broke over the Thompson Ranch, the soft golden light crept through the dusty windows, illuminating the vast expanse of land that Sarah had always longed to embrace fully. She sat at the edge of the kitchen island, her coffee cooling in front of her as her thoughts festered, each sip now a reminder of the stifling atmosphere she had endured. Today, everything shifted. The family reunion was her stage, but the stakes felt dangerously high. Planning the gathering had taken a surprising toll on her energy and spirit. It was a gamble. Could she navigate the tightrope of tradition and innovation delicately enough to avoid falling into the abyss of family disapproval? Her emotions danced between excitement and dread. After all, her intention was not merely to present her ideas, but to forge connections with people she still saw as distant relatives rather than confidants. Throughout the week, Sarah meticulously drafted a schedule, sprucing it with activities that highlighted both their heritage and the potential for change. Corn mazes to celebrate the past, and workshops on sustainable farming methods to invite the future. She could see it all in her mind, but felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her chest. Would they scoff? Would they embrace these novelties? Or even worse, dismiss her efforts entirely? Jacob sensed her turmoil and made an effort to reassure her as they prepared for the gathering. "Just speak from your heart, Sarah," he urged, his voice steady against the waves of her anxiety. But she wasn't just speaking to them. She felt as though she was fighting for a place in the very narrative of the Thompson legacy. The thought of any hesitation or defeat left her fighting back the swell of despair that threatened to leave her unheard. The day of the reunion arrived, adorned with a sunny sky and laughter echoing across the ranch. As relatives began to trickle in, the initial warmth created a sense of hope swelling in Sarah's chest. Yet the moment she noticed Henry distanced at the grill, his expression fixed on the flames, she knew the simmering tension was not far behind. Inspired, Sarah approached Henry, extending an olive branch while offering help. "Dad, would you like me to assist with the cooking?" she ventured softly, acutely aware of the risk involved in breaking the invisible barrier that divided them. He barely glanced her way, muttering a terse, "It's tradition to keep things simple," before returning to the task at hand. His dismissive demeanor stung. Why couldn't he see her attempts for what they were? A desire to unite and innovate rather than undermine. Somewhere within, doubt began to travel from seedling to weed, threatening to consume her resolve. As the afternoon unfolded, laughter mingled with stories shared across generations. However, every time she attempted a subtle mention of her ideas, the conversations would pivot, glossing over her words as if they were inconsequential, growing more distant with each attempt. Frustration bubbled alongside her ambition, igniting a fierce determination. It was time for her moment, the one she had rehearsed in quiet solitude. As everyone gathered for dinner, a spread rooted deep in family recipes, she cleared her throat. "I know we cherish tradition, but perhaps," she began, her heart thrumming against her ribcage. "It's time we discussed how we can adapt to ensure our legacy lives on." The room hushed. Eyes met hers with a mixture of confusion and skepticism, but she could also detect the faintest glimmer of curiosity, a flicker that let her know stepping forward was essential now more than ever. Do or die. She had to lean in. "Today I've prepared not just food but a vision, a future where the ranch can thrive without losing our history." A deliberate pause spread through the air, the tension palpable. Would they embrace her? Would Henry finally recognize the potential she saw? Or would this moment seal her fate as an outsider forever? As she looked around the table, searching for signs of acceptance, she felt the ground shift beneath her, a storm brewing in the hearts of her family around her. The moment teetered on the edge of resolution or rupture. The next words she uttered, the ones that could change everything, hung in the balance. What would they be? The tension in the air thickened as Sarah's heart raced, courage battling with the weight of uncertainty. She had committed to this moment, casting her vision into what felt like a chasm between past and future. All eyes were on her, and she braced herself for the plunge. "Dad, I believe that honoring our roots doesn't have to mean resisting change," she continued, her voice finding its strength. "The world outside these walls is shifting. We can still honor Grandpa's legacy while embracing new methods to cultivate our land and thrive." A shuffling sound broke through the silence. Henry shifted uneasily, the flicker of pain in his eyes almost imperceptible. He had devoted his life to this ranch, pouring everything into clinging to what once was. "Are we really going to fix something that isn't broken?" He finally spoke, the tension in his voice crackling like the embers of the grill still aglow beside him. "This land has served us fine for generations. We have survived this long without gimmicks." His words stung, but in the depths of her frustration lingered a hint of empathy. Did he see her as a threat? Or was he trapped in the fear of losing the patriarchal grip he felt was his alone to wield? "It's not about fixing, Dad," she countered, vigor rising within her. "It's about evolving, preserving the farm, preserving us." This was different than past conversations with him, where he would dismiss her dreams as whims. This time, she was armed with the tangible bursts of creativity that had fueled her plans. Workshops would teach the family innovative practices, combining the rich wisdom of their heritage with sustainable farming techniques. It was the balance of hope and progress. She had to believe that. "I've done my research, and I genuinely think this could elevate the ranch's potential, while also honoring our history. Imagine opening our doors to the community, inviting new faces while keeping the essence of what we are." Sarah's thoughts surged into a vision of bustling workshops filled with laughter and learning, of their ranch becoming a beacon of integration rather than isolation. The collective gaze shifted, becoming less fixed on her, and more attuned to the vivid imagery her words conjured. But doubt still clouded their expressions. "Enough about your dreams, Sarah," another voice chimed in. Maggie, her cousin. "Why would we change when what we have works? Isn't this just a way to try and change Dad into someone he's not?" The wave of dissent hit her harder than expected, sending her stomach churning. Each word felt like a chisel aiming to redefine her identity within this family. She realized then that she wasn't just fighting for change, she was fighting for her rightful place within their narrative. With a deep breath, Sarah expelled outside validation from her mind. This isn't about changing who we are. It's about ensuring we don't lose ourselves to stagnation. You all say you love this ranch. She gestured to the vibrant surroundings rich with history, layered with the echoes of laughter and memories. If we don't adapt, we risk losing everything. A thick silence enveloped them, thoughts winding through an invisible tapestry of shared history. She felt the pulse of hesitation humming through the room, her conviction colliding with their skepticism. "Just give me a chance," she whispered, vulnerability slipping through her hardened exterior. "Let's come together to explore these options. Let's create something we can all share, something that will carry on to the next generation." The moment spiraled, instantaneously shifting as eyes met across the table. Would they venture deeper into this unknown together? Or would they reinforce their barriers, leaving her feeling like an outsider once more? Henry's brow furrowed, grappling with something just beneath the surface. Would he see her heart and desire as truth, rather than challenge? In that breath of anticipation, as the family's silence lingered, Sarah recognized a pivotal truth. This was not merely an argument about farming. It was about redefining familial bonds and proving her place among them. Would they accept her? Would Henry dare to dream of a future beyond his established traditions? As Sarah stood at the precipice of possibility, every ounce of her being yearned for their approval, her reality trembling on the edge of change. The moment had arrived, but the resolution hung precariously in the air, a ticking clock waiting for its release. A surge of hope gripped her heart, just as the wind outside howled through the ranch, echoing her unheard pleas. The question screamed within her mind. What choice would they, and especially he, make? The silence stretched like a tension-filled bowstring, vibrating with unspoken words. Sarah could sense her family's hesitance clinging to the air, thickening it. She fought the urge to retreat into uncertainty, a familiar temptation after years of feeling minimized. Instead, she stood firm, embracing vulnerability as her secret armor. Henry's deep-set eyes remained fixed on the table, brows knitting in concentration as if searching for the right response within the worn wood. Sarah seized this moment, not merely for herself, but also for him. She needed to navigate this conversation carefully, understanding the years of fear and pride that had built his defense. "Dad," she pressed gently, her tone softening. "I understand this is hard for you. It feels like accepting change could mean losing what you've built. But I see a future where we can marry the old and the new, ensuring that everything you cherish can continue to flourish." A faint flicker of uncertainty crossed Henry's face, and Sarah sensed that beneath the crusty exterior lay a man torn between attachment and anxiety. It occurred to her that their relationship was not merely a conflict of ideals, but a complex web of emotions, threaded with love and fear. Daring to hope, she posed an idea. "What if we started with just one workshop? A chance for all of us to learn together. Nothing drastic, just a way to open the door to different possibilities." Maggie scoffed, folding her arms defiantly. "A workshop? Like it's some kind of cure-all? It'll just confuse everyone." The stab from her words felt deeply personal, echoing the doubts she tried to squash. How many times had she swallowed similar dismissals? Yet, an ember of determination sparked anew. She couldn't abandon her vision because of fear or disapproval. "Maybe it is confusing," Sarah admitted. "But new ideas often are. It's why we're getting stuck, reciting the same history instead of writing a new chapter." Henry finally raised his gaze, the flicker of doubt replaced by a glimmer of something fragile, curiosity, perhaps even hope. It felt like unearthing buried treasure. She pressed forward, ready to nurture that seed, giving it the chance to root. Later that evening, as the conversation dwindled to a close, Sarah eyed her father, desperate to gauge his thoughts while frustration threatened to engulf her. "What do you really think, Dad? Can we find a way to work this out? To blend our past with a future?" Henry's shoulders slumped, the weight of her inquiry embedded in the air. He began to pace the length of the porch, fingers rubbing along the rough wood railing. "I've spent my entire life fighting for this place, Sarah. It's all I know. Can I really trust such a big shift?" "Trust goes both ways," she challenged gently. "I need you to trust that I only want to build on what you've created. I want us to face the future together, as a family." Just as he was about to respond, the wind howled again, sweeping across the ranch, carrying with it the smell of rain, the perfect backdrop for renewal. In that moment, a surge of understanding flickered between them, a chance for connection amid the tension. "I need to think," he finally said, a hint of resignation in his voice, but it wasn't as heavy. Sarah noted his tone, less combative, more pondering. After he disappeared into the house, leaving her standing alone on the porch, Sarah felt a wave of mixed emotions. She had taken steps, but they were tentative, like a newborn calf on uncertain legs. Yet she realized each hesitant step could lead her closer to the future she envisioned. As she stretched her arms wide to embrace the evening, something shifted inside her. She was no longer just defending her right to dream. She was inviting her family into that very dream, uncertain but resolute. But as the last rays of sunlight succumbed to twilight, she couldn't shake the question looming heavily in the air. Was she prepared for the backlash that might accompany her father's reflections? Would he emerge with open arms or fortified defenses? And as the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, she felt an ominous thrill in her chest. The winds of change were stirring. Would they embrace the storm or shy away from it? The following morning, Sarah awoke to the sound of rain tapping against the window, a natural rhythm that echoed her emotions from the night before. The conversation still lingered, intensifying her mix of anxiety and anticipation. Today would be crucial, not only for her vision, but for the future dynamics of her family. She dressed quickly, donning a worn-out flannel shirt, a reminder of summers spent working the ranch alongside her father. The connection to her roots grounded her, helping to quell the fracturing uncertainties. As she stepped outside, the damp earth welcomed her with a scent of renewal, the kind that formed after the fiercest storms. The ranch felt alive, vibrating with possibility, Yet she knew the real storm was just beginning. Her father was already in the barn, a silhouette against the swaying shadows of haylofts and tools rusting in the corners. The sight struck a chord deep within her. She recognized the burden he bore. Entering the barn, she deliberated on the most effective way to address him, but no clever script would suffice. There had to be authenticity, an unwavering commitment to their shared history. "Hey, Dad," she called out, her voice steady but soft, piercing through the damp air. He turned, his expression unreadable. "Mornin'," he replied, withholding words that might betray the turmoil brewing beneath his stern demeanor. "Can we talk about yesterday?" she asked, taking a step closer, knowing full well each word carried weight, like a fragile glass ornament that might shatter at any moment. Henry stiffened, the muscles in his jaw tightening. "What's there to discuss? I've already stated my position." Inwardly, she braced for the battle, though she felt herself calm, determined to dismantle his defenses with patience rather than confrontation. "Everything. I think there's potential for us to evolve, without tearing down what you've built." He crossed his arms, a barricade. "You mean what the world is trying to force us to change into?" "No, Dad. This isn't just about change for the sake of it. It's about adapting so we can sustain what we love together," she clarified, pouring her conviction into each word. "I've built this place carefully. I won't just hand it over to new ideas that may fall flat." "Then let's work together," she proposed, excitement flickering to life within her. "We can try what I suggested, a workshop. It would let us test the waters without making irreversible changes. You can guide us. You can still be in control." His posture softened, uncertainty flashing across his eyes. "And if it goes wrong?" "Then we learn. Isn't that what you taught me? To keep pushing forward, to gather strength from setbacks?" An uneasy silence spread between them, both waiting for the other to reveal a hidden truth. The personal stakes now laid bare. Sarah's pulse quickened. She needed to make a decision, not just for her family, but for herself. She had to push through her own doubts. "I won't let us fail, Dad," she asserted, her resolve solidifying like cement. "What I need from you is trust. Just a bit of faith in my vision." He exhaled deeply, the air crushed under the weight of years spent fighting alone. For the first time, she saw a vulnerable flicker in his eyes. Perhaps it was the rain that had softened him, washing away layers of worry. Or maybe it was reflective of her own willingness to step forward unguarded. "Okay," he finally said, his tone betraying hesitance but unmistakably open. "We can give it a try, but I want to be clear. If I don't see it working, I won't hesitate to put my foot down." A mix of relief and exhilaration flooded her veins. They had crossed a threshold, one that opened a path to collaboration over conflict. "Fair enough," she nodded, accepting the boundary, knowing it fueled her own resolve. As they stood together in the barn, a steady drizzle outside, Sarah felt the tremors of transformation beneath their shared history. Yet, a new challenge loomed on the horizon. Would revisiting old wounds prove too painful, potentially unleashing resentments that had long been buried? With a mix of hope and trepidation swirling within her, Sarah prepared to embark on this new venture, acutely aware that every step would demand courage, especially from a family still healing from past scars. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the barn's dusty windows, creating a warm, golden glow that contrasted with the earlier gloom. It was as if the world outside was reminding Sarah that hope could follow even the fiercest storms. She took a deep breath, savoring the crisp air, which now felt charged with possibilities rather than uncertainties. As her father resumed his tasks, methodically stacking bales of hay, Sarah's thoughts raced. This was not just about a workshop. It ignited a desire for revival, a chance for her father and the ranch to flourish in ways she imagined but struggled to articulate. The stakes were high. Maybe it was also about her own identity, her need to prove that she wasn't just a daughter learning the ropes, but a partner who could guide this legacy into the future. "Dad," she began, hesitant yet determined, "maybe we could discuss how we could structure the workshop. I want your input." He paused, setting down the bale with a soft thud. "Input, huh? Yeah. I mean, you know this place better than anyone. I could organize the sessions, but your experience could shape everything we present." His brow narrowed in thought. The familiar wariness reminded her of their past debates, but there was a flicker of curiosity lingering in his eyes. "And if people don't show up?" Sarah felt a familiar flutter of anxiety at his doubts, yet she refused to let it derail her. "Then we learn from it, just like you said. We can analyze what worked and what didn't. It's a process. People won't change for the sake of change," he countered, crossing his arms. Yet she sensed his barricade crumbling just a bit. "Sometimes the change is in perspective," she replied, her voice gaining strength. This was about evolving, not just for the ranch, but for their personal growth as a family. "I want to bring the community together, to show them how much value your knowledge holds, even in adapting to newer practices." Henry's gaze shifted to the ground, reflecting on her words. The rain from the night before had soaked into the barn's floor, mixing old planks with the fresh start they needed. "Fine, let's draft something," he relented, their shared history infusing her with a sense of purpose. Progress, no matter how small, felt monumental. The collaborative effort ignited a spark within her, a realization that miscommunication had previously erected barriers between them. If they could harness this energy together, perhaps they could unveil hidden talents within themselves, his wisdom and her fresh perspective working in tandem. As they sketched out ideas, Sarah noticed her father's grip loosening, allowing her insights to merge with his pragmatism. There was peace in his moments of thoughtfulness, and she dared to hope that their growing partnership might shift something deeper in their family dynamic. However, as the day wore on, the threat of hesitation loomed. What if the community rejected the workshop? What if it only deepened the rift between her father and her vision? Her mind churned with myriad scenarios. That evening, she decided to approach the issue head-on. After dinner, she gathered her courage and shared her fears with her father under the old oak tree, which stood sentinel over their property. "What if people don't embrace what I'm trying to do? Maybe I'll fail and let you down." Henry's face softened. He seemed to choose his words carefully. "You won't know until you try." He paused, allowing the stillness of the night to envelop them. "And if that happens, it won't be the end. It'll just be a lesson." The weight of his support was a new revelation, and like the oak, it fortified her spirit. Yet beneath her determination lay a tremor of unrest. They had only begun to confront the deeper issues that had haunted their relationship. As they stepped back inside, the shadows of the past loomed over them, eclipsing the newfound light in Sarah's heart. What other challenges lay ahead as they ventured into this uncharted territory of trust and collaboration? Her heart raced with anticipation, for the next steps held both promise and peril. Little did she know, the real growth lay not just in the workshop's potential, but in navigating the underlying emotional ties that could either bind them or tear them apart. The morning after her conversation with her father, Sarah woke with a mix of anticipation and dread. She stood before the mirror, assessing her reflection. A young woman ready to embrace responsibility, yet still battling the echoes of self-doubt. Each day felt like a delicate balancing act, one where she had to prove herself both to her father and to her own expectations. She let out a measured breath, resolving to push through the uncertainties clouding her mind. Determined to make a breakthrough, Sarah decided to engage the community directly. She envisioned a short presentation at the local meeting, an informal gathering where she could present her vision for the workshop. Her heart raced at the thought. What if they laughed? What if they simply scoffed at her ambitious ideas? But part of her, a fiercer part, was tired of letting fear dictate her actions. At the kitchen table, she mapped out her talking points. A tapestry woven from statistics about agricultural evolution, and a personal narrative about her family's ranch. Each word carved an image of progress, of renewal, and of resilience, reflecting both her father's legacy and her own dreams. Periodically, she glanced out the window at the expanse of the ranch, breathing in the scent of fresh earth. This land was more than soil and wood. It was a canvas on which she could paint change. As she honed her presentation, her father's presence loomed in the background. Henry entered the room, his expression guarded. "What's all this?" he asked, eyebrows raised as he scanned the sheets cluttering the table. "I'm planning to share our workshop ideas at the meeting," she replied, trying to convey enthusiasm despite the knot tightening in her stomach. His reaction was predictable. A flicker of apprehension crossed his face. "Do you really think they'll be interested?" "I can't measure their interest until I present something, Dad. We can't just wait. And if they criticize your ideas, it will sting, sure. But isn't that part of the process?" She locked her gaze on him, seeking to resonate with the wisdom he so often preached. Henry lingered by the doorway, his indecision palpable. She suspected that beneath his careful exterior lay someone who wanted to support her, but was scared of venturing into the unknown. "You don't always have to face them alone, you know." "I know," she said softly. "But this is something I need to do. I can't keep living in the shadows of what you've built. I have to carve out my own identity alongside yours." He stepped closer, and in that moment, something shifted. She could see the gears turning in his mind. The internal struggle he battled was familiar, a reflection of her own fears. "Just remember to keep an open mind. Not everyone will share our vision." With those words, he retreated, leaving her with both encouragement and a lingering seed of doubt. She arrived at the meeting that evening with her heart racing. The hall was filled with familiar faces, some welcoming, others indifferent. As she stood at the front, she realized this was more than just a presentation. It was a confrontation of her own insecurities. She took a deep breath, grounding herself. As she spoke, she observed their reactions closely. Half smiles and raised brows flipping from skepticism to interest. At the end of her presentation, she felt the weight of her father's fears begin to lift, replaced by a tentative hope for their collaborative future. Yet, uncertainty still wrapped itself around her like a heavy fog. Just as she thought she had found her footing, an unexpected voice pierced through the gathering. A man from the back who had always been a staunch critic of change. "You think you can make us shift our ways just like that? You're delusional." The room fell silent. Tension crackled in the air. Sarah felt the challenge ignite her resolve. She could either back down, or she could confront this moment. Clenching her fists, she took a step forward. As she prepared to respond, a new realization dawned on her. This was a definitive moment, not just for the ranch and the community, but for herself. "Maybe," she said with newfound strength, "but are you willing to let fear control the conversation? Or are you ready to listen to what evolution sounds like?" The uncertain excitement in her chest began to swell into something bolder. She was moving from a place of insecurity into a brave new territory. And with it came the awareness that this was only the beginning of what she could discover about herself. The outcome hung in the balance, the response from the crowd crucial. Would they stand with her or against her? The silence that enveloped the room felt like a tangible weight, pressing down on Sarah as she prepared for the inevitable wave of reactions. She noticed the division in the faces before her. Some yearning for change, others trapped in the familiar embrace of tradition. It was as if she stood at the edge of a precipice, uncertain whether to leap into the unknown or retreat to safety. Delusional? Or brave enough to challenge the status quo? The questions coursed through her mind, fueling a fire that she needed to stoke. This is what it's all about, she thought, feeling the heat of determination replace her earlier apprehension. The critic's gaze bore into her, laden with skepticism. She could feel her pulse quickening, a reminder that this was more than a unified front. It was a test of her resolve. I can't control their perceptions, she realized, but I can control my response. Change is rarely comfortable, but it often leads to progress, she replied, maintaining eye contact with him. She could sense the uncertainty flickering in the audience. If we cling only to what we know, we might miss out on so much. Her voice held firm and steady now, bolstered by her own clarity of purpose. In that moment, a woman from the front row, someone whose quiet presence was often overlooked, interjected. What do you suggest we do differently? Her question was laden with hesitance, but laced with curiosity. Embrace new agricultural techniques, adopt more sustainable practices, perhaps even open our doors to collaborations we previously dismissed. Sarah paced slowly in front of them. Let's learn and adapt together. This ranch can thrive not just because of tradition, but because of innovation. Heads nodded slightly, a palpable shift in the atmosphere. In her mind, she cataloged their responses, growing more fervent with every nod. They were listening. Tell us more, the woman continued, willing to delve deeper. Riding the wave of this newfound momentum, Sarah laid out her vision. With each point she delivered, her confidence unfurled further, the essence of her family legacy echoing within her words. She discussed community workshops, collaborations with local universities, and perhaps even mentorship programs with younger farmers to infuse the ranching community with fresh perspectives. The engagement from the audience fueled her, counteracting the shadows of doubt that still clung to her thoughts like cobwebs. She sensed she was breaking down walls, inching closer to a reconciliation between her vision and the community's past. Then, the critic challenged her once again, his tone softer this time but still brimming with resistance. What if we fail? What if this doesn't work as you say? Failure is a part of any journey, she replied, her conviction only strengthening. But we'll only truly fail if we don't try. Let's redefine what success looks like together. As she spoke, she caught her father's gaze. He stood at the back, pride flickering in his eyes despite his usual apprehensive nature. For Sarah, this moment crystallized not just her dreams for the ranch, but the realization that she held the power to shape her own narrative alongside the legacy of her father. Yet amidst the rapid-fire feedback, an even deeper apprehension crept into her thoughts. What would it mean for her relationship with her father? Would he embrace this shift on the ranch? As she scanned the room, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that every step forward she took also carved an uncharted territory in their relationship, a path full of potential but also rife with complications. The meeting drew to a close, and as she stepped back from the podium, the uncertainty loomed heavy. Had they truly embraced her ideas, or would the lingering echoes of skepticism ultimately drown her burgeoning confidence? The seeds she planted that day had not yet taken root. Whether they flourished or withered in the coming days hung in the balance. But one thing was certain. She had taken a decisive stand. As voices resumed normal chatter in the room, a woman approached. "You've sparked something in me," she said, a hint of excitement in her voice. "I can help you organize a workshop. What do you think?" Before Sarah could respond, her mind whirled with the implications of this newfound allyship. It was both a gift and a challenge, a bold invitation to step further into the leadership role she yearned for. "Not everyone will share your vision," echoed Henry's words in her mind. But she was determined now. Yet, in embracing this journey, how would she remain true to herself without compromising the familial bonds that deserved nurture too? As she navigated a path forward with all the uncertainty swirling around her, she felt both exhilarated and overwhelmed. The moment had arrived. She was shaping her future, but the looming question remained. Would she risk it all for a chance at true independence? The atmosphere shifted as Sarah stepped out of the meeting room, the fluorescent lights flickering overhead, their hum a reminder of the world outside the momentary sanctuary of ideas she'd just navigated. Her thoughts raced, excitement now mingled with anxiety. The woman's enthusiasm had provided a glimmer of hope, but it also ignited a daunting realization. This was not just about her anymore. She was no longer merely carrying a vision alone. She was responsible for igniting change within a community, and for those who depended on the ranch's legacy. Gripping the edge of the table across from her father in the back office, Sarah sought clarity amid the chaos swirling in her mind. The thought alone of rallying her colleagues around these new ideas felt monumental. How could she ensure their fears wouldn't stifle her ambitions? Each plan she had crafted would require not merely acceptance, but genuine trust. The conversation she had just experienced echoed in her head, bouncing against uncertainties. Every compliment she received flashed like a neon sign against the dark backdrop of doubt. If she invested in workshops, would they truly engage, or would she be met with an avalanche of disbelief? And what of her father's expectations? Would he see her efforts as a reclamation of his respect, or a betrayal of the legacy that had been carefully cultivated over generations? She took a breath, yearning for an anchor amidst the rising tide of apprehensions. "I'm reshaping history," she whispered to herself. It was a declaration she felt alongside her growing resolve. The weight of expectation pressed heavy, yet it served as the catalyst she had needed to fuel her ambition. In search of reconnection, she dialed a number she had memorized, a classmate from university whose professional acumen contrasted her rural upbringing. As the phone rang, Sarah's apprehension morphed into a tangible excitement. Maybe a partnership would set a precedent, she thought, bridging the gap between tradition and advancement. When Leah answered, Sarah wasted no time laying out her aspirations, her voice clear and infused with urgency. "One workshop can pivot us toward collaboration," she explained. Leah's enthusiasm mirrored her own, filling Sarah with urgency and pride. By the time she hung up, Sarah had made an ally in innovation. They would explore new possibilities together, each voice a counterpoint challenging the rest. This was her first real step, leading the change she envisioned. Her independence blooming like spring amid thawing frost. She paced the office, embracing the flicker of determination igniting within her. The thought of her father loomed ever larger, a looming silhouette filled with concern. What if she stumbled into conflict rather than collaboration? What would her pursuit of innovation mean for his tenure on the ranch? How adept was she at navigating familial complexities while striving to break new ground? With every strategic step, she felt the stakes rising, not just for herself, but for her family's legacy. The real battle wasn't merely winning over the ranch hands or community. It lay starkly in her connection with her father, his pride intertwined with her newfound ambition. As the day wore on, her mind drifted back to the meeting, replaying faces, criticisms, and encouragements over and over. She knew she had porous walls to penetrate. Every decision she faced could either build a bridge or erect a barrier. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the ranch. Sarah watched as the cattle grazed peacefully, embodying a world unaffected by the chaos of human uncertainty. But underneath that serene image lay a future full of unknown potential. She picked up the phone once more and called another acquaintance, a mentor from her college days who had navigated a similar path. This connection could provide more than guidance. It might illuminate pitfalls hidden from view. The mentor's insightful responses would be vital social capital in her quest for independence. As the conversation unfolded, new paths appeared, illuminating possibilities she had never considered. Yet amid the exhilaration, a nagging thought crept in. Would she bear the weight of her decisions, or reshape the meaning of responsibility? Was she ready to confront the potential fallout from pushing past comfort zones? The hour late, she finally retreated to the living room, where her father sat quietly, lost in thought. An emotional barrier lingered between them, even as the air crackled with unspoken words. Time felt suspended. It was a moment waiting for clarity, and it was then she realized it would take more than dialogue to forge her destiny. She had to prepare herself for the deeper conversation that was coming. one that could redefine everything. Tomorrow would not merely be another day at the ranch, it would be a confrontation. The time had come to face not only the critics and uncertainties outside, but also the critical bond that could either fortify her mission or break under its weight. Would she dare to challenge not just the vision of others, but also her father's expectations in the name of her independence? With the dawn's first light streaming through the kitchen window, Sarah felt a mixture of anticipation and resolve tightening in her chest. As she prepared for the day ahead, the events of the previous week played through her mind like an old film reel. The community meeting had been a turning point, a moment when she had finally stepped into her own power, embracing her vision for the ranch. Now, as she joined her father in the barn, she sensed that today was pivotal. Every decision she made now carried the weight of their future, both personally and professionally. "Morning, Dad," she greeted, a hint of nervous energy buoying her greeting. He looked up from his task, his brow furrowed, as if caught in a dance between pride and concern. "Ready for today?" he asked, a hint of vulnerability lining his deep voice. "I am," she replied, steadying herself. "I've been thinking about our workshop, how we can present it to the community and make it more accessible for everyone." "Have you?" Henry's tone was skeptical, almost defensive. She noticed the way his hands tensed around the pitchfork, betraying the anxiety brewing beneath the surface. "We need to frame it as an opportunity for collaboration, rather than merely change," Sarah explained earnestly. "It's not just about new techniques. It's about all of us growing together, learning from one another. Think of the legacy we can build." A flicker of doubt crossed Henry's face, and Sarah pressed on. "The ranch has so much potential, Dad. We can honor the traditions while inviting the future. Our family's story doesn't end here. It evolves." For the first time, she caught a glimpse of the conflicted man behind the stern facade. Perhaps he had been holding his breath, waiting for the moment she would break through the barriers he had erected over the years. "Change is hard," he finally said, his voice softer. "What you propose, it's foreign to me." "It is. But that's the beauty of it," Sarah countered, feeling her confidence bloom. "We can bridge the past and the future. We can create something beautiful together." A moment hung between them like a suspended cord, vibrating with shared history and the promise of change. As the day unfolded, Sarah and Henry engaged with each other more openly than they had in years. Together, they worked rhythmically, aligning her ideas with his wisdom, a delicate choreography of tradition and innovation. By noontime, they had crafted a preliminary outline for the workshop, and Sarah felt exhilarated. The doubts and fears that had once suffocated her, threatening to derail her hopes, were now brushed aside by clarity and purpose. "We should invite local farmers, the community leaders," she urged. "Engage them in discussions. Let them see they have a role in this." Henry nodded thoughtfully, a glint of approval shining through what had previously felt like a wall of resistance. "All right, we'll do it." That evening, as they gathered at the dinner table for the first time in a long while, Sarah could sense the crucial shift in their family dynamic. Something profound had changed. She no longer felt like an outsider contending for a place in this family. Rather, she was part of a legacy unfolding, one she helped write. "Dad," she ventured cautiously, the weight of her heart in her voice. "What do you think about the direction we're taking?" Henry met her gaze. "I know I haven't always been supportive, but that doesn't mean I don't see the potential. You've driven this ranch towards possibilities I wouldn't have imagined." Sarah blinked back tears, overwhelmed by his words. "This isn't just about the ranch for me. It's about us, our family. I want to build on what you've created, together." The air shifted again, a palpable tension melting away. For the first time, they could engage in an honest conversation without the thorns of judgment or fear scratching at the surface. As Sarah lay in bed that night, she reflected on her journey. All of her struggles had transformed. The knots that had once twisted her insides were now threads woven into a tapestry of understanding and collaboration. The following week, as the workshop approached, her heart soared with possibility. They distributed flyers, spoke to neighbors and friends, welcoming input on the direction of the ranch. Sarah saw not only Henry's support, but his curiosity igniting alongside her ambition, recognition that perhaps they were both just navigating a shared legacy. When the day of the workshop arrived, vibrant sunlight embraced the ranch as people trickled in. Local farmers, curious about Sarah's proposals, gathered in the barn, eager to discuss ideas and potential collaborations. Each conversation sparked connections, bridging knowledge gaps, challenge by challenge. "Welcome," Sarah said, her voice filled with conviction. "Today isn't just a chance to talk about farming. It's our opportunity to redefine what this ranch means to each of us." The warmth of the crowd enveloped her, and she saw acknowledgement in her father's expression. The thaw had commenced between their generational beliefs. There was transformation brewing not just on the ranch, but within their family fabric. As the day unfolded, witnessing the connections deepen, Sarah felt immeasurable joy swell inside her. This wasn't just about achieving a goal. It was about honor and reconciling differences. Her father's legacy was not vanishing. It was being reborn. At the end of the workshop, as attendees moved about, sharing their thoughts and future engagements, Sarah sought out Henry. He beamed with pride, his smile reflecting the familiarity of hope. "Well done, kiddo," he said, placing a hand on her shoulder. "I never thought I'd see the day where our ranch could thrive together in this way. You've proven to me that the future can indeed hold possibilities without letting go of what we cherish." Tears of relief brimmed in her eyes. In that moment, she understood the full weight of her journey, not just the triumph of professional ambition, but the journey of healing within her family. The transformation ignited a solid sense of confidence, approaching each day with the knowledge that navigating change was not just a challenge but an honor. Tomorrow, Sarah knew, they would build further on solid foundations, weaving the threads of yesterday into a bright patchwork of shared tomorrows. The ranch was alive with potential, one she had fought tirelessly to realize, and now, at last, it thrived. In her heart, she felt the sweet taste of accomplishment, not just for herself, but for her family's legacy. This is the moment of truth, dear viewers. If you connected with Sarah's incredible journey, you need to subscribe now so you won't miss more exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support more tales of resilience and transformation. Tell us in the comments your reactions and theories about Sarah's enduring journey and the dynamics of family legacy. And don't wait even one more second to share this inspiring conclusion with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of personal growth and transformation.